It's definitely no secret that fast food has gotten expensive. But what is the reason for that? Today I stumbled across the video saying, why did fast food become so expensive? So we're going to see what that answer may be. But I think that it's more than just inflation, what people might put it on. Because as we all know, inflation has wreaked havoc across the entire economy. But with any business, I think fast food has basically come down to raising prices until people refuse to buy it anymore, right? So we saw that kind of happen with that value meals war thing going on, and it kind of died down a bit. But I think that might be something to point more towards just the consumer just still buying stuff. And until that stops happening, we're just going to see prices kind of stay elevated or maybe try to linger up a bit. But until people stop paying for it at these absurd prices, they're just going to keep being there.
For people on the go. And it's still fairly quick and easy. But if you've been in a fast food joint recently, then you've probably noticed that it's not quite so cheap anymore.
No, dude, this isn't happening, all right? We didn't make it here and now we're broke.
What went wrong? Well, today we're going to take a look at why fast food got so expensive.
And it really did. Fast food has just skyrocketed. It's actually ridiculous where a McDonald's meal can cost the same or more than like a sit-down restaurant where you're getting much better quality. It's insane that can be cheaper than McDonald's, and people still line up to go for McDonald's. They got a death grip on us.
Founded by Billy Ingram and Walter Anderson, the first White Castle opened in Wichita, Kansas in 1921. Assembly lines were all the rage back then, and Ingram and Anderson seized on the fad to come up with the now standard model for fast food places, including the limited menu, the fast service, and the low prices. The restaurant was a huge success. Donald in California in 1940. In 1948, In-N-Out Burger would open up the first drive-through fast food restaurant in Baldwin Park, California. And with that, the fast food experience as we know it today was pretty much complete. But it wouldn't be until after World War II that America got on the highway to being a fast food nation. After the war, the U.S. experienced a period of unprecedented prosperity and built an elaborate new network of national highways. Americans were driving further from home on an increasingly regular basis, and recognizable franchise chains became like familiar friends in a strange land. Fast forward to the present, and the U.S. now has the largest fast food industry in the entire world. Given fast food's relationship to obesity and various related illnesses, that may not be such a great thing, but have you tried fast food?
That's something I didn't. This is an insane thing to pause on, but this is something I didn't actually really even think about. Where people, the history of it, where people are going longer distances on vacations or driving for whatever, day trips even, and when you go somewhere far away, if you go to another state, you don't know the restaurants and stuff, so you just go to what you know. McDonald's, all of these fast food logos, you know what you're going to get. So even though maybe it's not the best, or even like now, it's more expensive, but you know what you're going to get too. You know what you like, what you don't, and you're not going to, pay for a meal and then not actually like it. So I guess never really thought of that. Maybe it's the familiarity that we've all fallen in love with.
There are a lot of reasons American consumers fell in love with fast food. And it's not just the French fries, although that's probably a big part of it. For starters, there was the speed and convenience. Obviously, hitting a drive-thru is a heck of a lot faster and easier than going to a full...
Really quick on this, because it's been, I'm pausing a lot, but when they say speed and convenience, I feel like that used to be the thing. Where fast food doesn't even have that now. I've gone to McDonald's and ordered something, and they pull you up to a spot, and it's like you sit there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes waiting for your food. It is not very fast or convenient. It's like the apps are fast and convenient now, so where you don't have to really feel like you're waiting for your food. Someone's delivering it, but it's insane the amount of time that I've wasted waiting on food. So fast and convenient might be a thing of the past.
Full-service restaurant. And fast food advertising campaigns have long targeted people on the go who are just in need of a quick meal. But over the decades, American families also increasingly became two-income families, and the convenience of fast food made it a good stopgap for parents that just didn't have time to cook anymore. No longer just for travelers, fast food started to become a standard part of many people's diet. While the speed and convenience were certainly a draw, it was really the price of fast food that the public fell in love with. Full-service restaurants could be expensive, but at a fast food place, you could feed your entire family for relatively cheap. And during the 1980s and 90s, chains increasingly began luring customers in by offering extra value combo meals. Because the rise of combo meals powered an explosion in the popularity of fast food. The 1990s era McDonald's extra value meal was pretty typical, offering 6 different options, including a Big Mac meal, a 2 cheeseburger meal, a quarter pounder with cheese meal, and
This is insane. This is like, let's go back to these prices, please. These aren't even value meal. Like McDonald's like $5 value meal thing that's some sandwich and 4 McNuggets or something and a drink and a small drink, small fries, small everything. Let's go back to these. The real regular meals, $3. And the most expensive one, $4. Like, let's go back to this. This is the prices I could get behind. What is it now? Like $14 or $15 for a meal at McDonald's? It's like, we've gotten kind of crazy. And I don't think the prices are ever going to come down substantially. Maybe they come down a little bit if people stop buying the food and stop going there because it just gets so outrageous. But I don't know. Let's go back to this. This was the golden age for fast food.
the value meal of today doesn't quite hold the same value as the value meals of days gone by. In fact, fast food has gotten pretty damn expensive. If you went to McDonald's back when they first started doing their thing in the 1940s, you could feed your entire family for under $1. Taking inflation into account, that's equivalent to about $22 in 2024, which
Wait, so what are they saying is entire family? 4? Like 2 kids and 2 parents? $22? I guess. I don't even know. What are you doing? 4 meals for that stuff? It's probably more than that. More than $22, but hearing it adjusted for inflation kind of makes it sound not like it's such a great deal. I don't know.
is a pretty good deal for a family dinner. Hamburgers were 15 cents back then, cheeseburgers were 19 cents, and fries were 10 cents. Adjusted for inflation, that would be roughly $1.75 for a hamburger, $2.25 for a cheeseburger, and $1.15 for the fries. But that's not actually what
now these adjusted sound way better. Because that's not what they are now.
those things cost these days. A direct comparison is hard to make because today different locations charge different prices for menu items depending on where they are. But as of May 2024, the McDonald's located in the Southern California town of Downey, which is incidentally the oldest operating location in the world, charges about $2.80 for a hamburger, $3 for a cheeseburger, and $3.90 for fries. So it doesn't take a math whiz to see there's a little more going on than just inflation. In fact, according to at least one report, McDonald's has increased the price of their food by over 100% over the last decade, which is actually more than 3 times the rate of inflation. McDonald's.
See, so this is the interesting fact where I think, obviously, the reason that they're raising these prices like this is because they can, because people keep buying the stuff. So until people stop buying McDonald's food or it gets so expensive where they just can't buy it, that's the only time prices will ever actually come down or maybe stabilize, because I don't think prices are going to come down that much, right? From whatever they're doing, wherever they are now. They're kind of just going to stay where they are, maybe come down a little bit. They're probably going to launch value meals to get people back in the door instead of dropping prices. But let's see if that's the answer they give, because that's what I would say is just people still buying it. It's just the market, right? So if they can get away with these prices, they're going to.
Disputes that number, but prices have definitely risen quite a bit. A medium fries, which cost $1.59 in 2014, is now on average $3.79. In the same period, a 10-piece McNugget meal doubled from $5.99 to $10.99, and a quarter pounder with cheese went from $5.39 to $11.99. The McChicken, once a staple of the dollar menu, now costs 3 times that in some places. That's pretty pricey, especially for a place that was offering 2 out of its 4 most iconic menu items, including the Big Mac, quarter pounder with cheese, Filet-O-Fish, and 10-piece McNuggets, for $5 as recently as 2016. The overall result of the higher prices has been less customers paying more money for their fast food. And there is only so much a person will pay for a fast food burger. McDonald's seems to be the worst offender when it comes to jacking up prices. But they're far from alone. Taco Bell, for example, was once famous for having low prices that made them a favorite among frugal customers, night owls, and chihuahuas that like to party. But since 2014, their prices are up an average of 80%. The Doritos Locos Taco, which was $1.39 in 2014, now costs a whopping $2.59. A cheesy gordita crunch went from $2.49 to $4.99. And don't even get us started on the beefy 5-layer burrito, which now costs 132% more than it did in 2014.
I actually think that's crazy with the Taco Bell stuff, because they like that. The entire thing about Taco Bell is like they're cheap, right? Like you can go there and get a good amount of food for a few dollars, $5, and eat that if you're on a budget, right? And now I don't think that's not the case at all. They're pretty expensive. I haven't even been to Taco Bell in a long time, but like they used to be something where it's like you got bang for your buck, and now I feel like I haven't been there, but from what people have said and this stuff, obviously, is like they're just not that anymore. I don't think any fast food is that anymore. Maybe that's what we need. We need someone to come in, cause a little bit of competition disruption, and come in and be a cheap alternative where you get a lot of bang for your buck. Can they actually do that now and be profitable and stuff? Maybe not. Maybe that's the bigger problem, but maybe there's a market opportunity there.
Burrito, which now costs 132% more than it did in 2014. Even the Chihuahua would have trouble stomaching that. Meanwhile, the menu prices at Popeyes are up the same 80%. Wendy's, Burger King, and Arby's have all done a relatively better job controlling costs, but emphasis is on the relatively, because prices at those places are still up around 55%. As for Mickey D's, a Big Mac alone without the combo costs $6. The average value meal is over $10, and you'll have to shell out well over $50 to feed a family of 4. The result is that instead of being a reliably cheap place to take the kids, more and more people are starting to see fast food as a luxury. In fact, the prices have gotten so high, it's created an opening for full-service restaurants like Applebee's and Chili's. To paraphrase Applebee's CEO John Payton, why pay $10 to eat a burger out of a bag when you can pay the same amount or less to get an arguably better burger with all the amenities of a sit-down dining experience? And you gotta admit, the man has
Yeah, this is exactly what I think is going to happen too, because fast food like is just getting so expensive, right? And why, like literally, this quote is going to come to life. People are going to see this and say, why go to a fast food thing? And even let's assume the fast food thing is a better quality product. It's not, but let's assume it is. The mental idea that everyone has is that it's not. So if it's more expensive to go there than to go to a sit-down restaurant, people are going to go to the sit-down restaurant and assume they're getting a better experience and a better quality food than what they would get at a fast food thing, even if it's not true. It is true, right? I mean, I would assume it's true in most places. It's probably true, but even if it wasn't, the perception of fast food is so bad that no matter where else you go, it's just going to be better mentally. All right,
so why the heck have drive-thru burgers gotten so expensive? Well, it's complicated. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the cost of goods in general is up roughly 30% since 2019, and that explains part of the increase. As for the rest, the price of fast food is mostly determined by the price of its ingredients, the transportation required to get the food to franchise locations, and all the associated labor costs. And as any home chef can tell you, the prices of ingredients have soared over the past 5 years, and only recently started to cool. At the same time, increased demand for delivery since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic has driven up the prices of things like napkins, straws, cups, and food containers. And transportation costs certainly haven't gotten any cheaper over the years. The cost of minimum wage labor has also been on the rise, and fast food chains have to pass that expense on to customers via rising prices. To hear a politician's spin on the topic, look to President Joe Biden, who, in his 2024 State of the Union address, laid blanket blame on unspecified greedy companies for rising food prices, saying, "Too many corporations raise their prices to pad their profits." And indeed, some corporations in the food and food service businesses have managed to make record profits in recent years. McDonald's, for the record, denies any form of price gouging, claiming their profit margins are largely the same as they were in 2019. However, given their close ties to known criminals like the Hamburglar, we should all remain skeptical.
So I think that's a pretty good explanation of stuff, a good video, kind of like the history of fast food and why people might just be stuck to it, and then where we're going. The prediction in here that I would pull from this, and I would say I'd agree with, is sit-down restaurants might be coming back because they're probably going to be cheaper, and the perception is going to be better. So where do these costs come from? Inflation, labor costs, all these different things. Ultimately, everything they said in here, I think you could boil down into just being people are still paying the prices. So whatever the price is, if the majority of people still go there and buy the food, then you can get away with it. The only time it'll become a problem will be when people stop going there and stop buying the meals. That's the only time anything will actually have to change. But that's going to do it for this video. As always, don't forget to and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next